What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to look at the Beretta APX pistol. Basically what I want to do is go over the pistol and just let you know that it's actually a lot better than you think it is. So let's get right into it. So what I want to do today is just go over the features of the APX, go over some of the designs I like about it, and just maybe let you know that the APX shouldn't be overlooked when it comes to how good of a gun it actually is. So let's get right into it. Getting into the APX, one of the biggest selling features of the gun, and I think the absolute biggest selling feature, is the ergonomics of the pistol. So if we look at it ergonomically, this gun is one of the most comfortable to hold that I've ever held in terms of a polymer striker-fired gun. When you grab a hold of it, the grip itself just almost feels like it was designed for your hand. Like it's almost like they took a mold of your hand and design the pistol around it. It's that comfortable. It's that ergonomic. It's got a grip the likes of which I've never really felt on a polymer striker fire gun, with, let's say, the exception of like something like the HK VP series or the P30 series. The grip's that good. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Now, one of the best features about the grip that I like the most is its modularity. So the thing with the APX, and unlike other guns like the SIG 320, for example, is the APX gives you kind of a variety in a single package. So what I mean by that is not only do you have the option of changing the color, as you can see like I've done with this one, you can change the color, you can go tan, black, green, like a white, a wolf gray, hell, blue. There's all kinds of colors you can do to it, but the other thing as well is the modularity in terms of the back straps and the actual finger grooves themselves. Now, the finger grooves on the APX are very minor, like very subtle. Like they don't, they're not overly big. And which is a really nice thing, because when you compare it to certain other guns that do have very aggressive finger grooves, like say, this is my Glock 17C, so where they've got the really sharp, aggressive finger grooves, people with certain sized hands, these finger grooves will actually almost push your hand off of what is normally considered comfortable. So it's kind of nice having a more subtle finger groove to the gun. Now, the beauty of the APX line is that if you don't like the finger grooves, they sell these grip modules without them. So if you want it where it's just like a straight, with no finger grooves, you can absolutely do that. Me personally, I actually like the grooves like this. They're very subtle, but not overpowering. The other big benefit with this over something like say the SIG 320 is, while it does have the modularity to change the backstrap like on the 320 to small, medium, and large, these are pieces that you have to buy aftermarket. Now, I understand that most people, I'd say about 80% of shooters, will just shoot the medium and be done with it. But the nice thing with a gun like the APX compared to something like the 320 is that it already comes with the back straps. So if I don't like the size, it's already in the box to change it. I can make it bigger or I can make it smaller. You've already got that option available to you, and I think that's a really good selling feature, especially for a gun as well built and as, in my opinion, well designed as the APX. It gives you the options, and I honestly, I think that's great. Now, if we continue on, the other really nice feature about the grip of the APX is the texturing. Now, Beretta has got this habit, like many other manufacturers out there, but I find Beretta is very good at this, is they listen to what the consumer wants. A lot of consumers, you see it nowadays, like the P320 is an excellent example, the Smith & Wesson M&P, is people will stipple and texture the grip to make it more aggressive than it already is. Beretta's already done that pretty much right out of the gate with the new texturing that they have on the APX lineup. It's a very, very well textured grip. It's not quite as sharp as something like a stipple job. However, it is very aggressive. And I shot this gun, or not this one, sorry. I shot this one in a match not too long ago. It was pouring rain on us. And at no point did the gun like try and slip out of my hand or was it having issues with the grip. It's very aggressive, but not overpowering. And I think that's an awesome feature about the APX. Now, ignoring the grip, let's move on from the grip for a bit now, because the grip, at least in my opinion, is one of the best selling features. But let's move on. What else is great about the Beretta APX? Well, one of them, actually, believe it or not, is the trigger. So the trigger itself, the trend is kind of shifting towards flat face triggers. We're seeing a lot with new guns, the new 320s that are coming out. Companies like APX, Zev, they all make flat face triggers because a flat face trigger, in general, has got a much smoother, crisper break to it. And most of them will break at a 90-degree angle. So when they break, it's very nice, it's very consistent, but it also enhances the accuracy, at least I found. For the longest time, I never really believed in flat face triggers until I've taken the time to really experience it myself, and I gotta say, I'm sold on the design. Now, if we continue on, a lot of the other nice features about the APX, beyond the trigger, is Beretta's support for the pistol. So it may have seemed like the APX has almost kind of died right out the gate. However, sales on it are going up, not down. There's been, as far as I'm aware, at least the research I've done, there's been several law enforcement agencies in the States that have already adopted the pistol. It's been entered in multiple military trials, albeit unsuccessfully. But one of the big features I like about the gun is Beretta's support for it. So what I mean by that is Beretta's already got bits and pieces out and available for this gun right now as we speak. One of which is aftermarket, or not necessarily aftermarket sights, but Beretta branded sights. So these ones, I kind of went a little different on this. Is I put an adjustable rear sight with the fiber optic greens, and then all I did for the front was I actually just painted the front. I didn't actually change the front sight. But Beretta has front and rear sights available. It's got blacked out rear adjustable, and it's got fiber optic fronts should you so choose, which is great. Other features that the APX also has available, direct from Beretta, is the striker plunger assembly. So this one, this is a new one. You can tell by the bright green color. Beretta has an install video of it, but they don't actually say what it does. Basically, that little plunger in there takes about 1.5 pounds off the trigger. So it goes. So mine went from 5.5 pounds to about just under, like a hair under 4. So it's a pretty good little trigger. And I mean, for $30, it's not a bad little install to take away some of the weight of the trigger, which again I think is great. Other things that Beretta has available is competition recoil springs. So now they've got recoil springs that you can get. Now the ones that come factory with the gun are believe it or not, they're actually aluminum. The aftermarket, or again, I say aftermarket, but the competition Beretta ones have a different spring system to them. It looks the same, but it's actually a different spring setup, and they're solid steel. So that's another really nice feature about it is the gun can be set up for competition where you can really compete with these things and kind of let her go, which I think is great. I've competed with it, and I didn't do terrible. Another big thing that I find with the APX is the reliability. These guns just run, and they run really well. The nice thing is, I like with this one, when I first got it, I think the first 150 rounds I had 2 malfunctions, and it's got several thousand through it now, and she's been running flawless. This one is actually brand new to me. I just got this about a couple weeks ago. This one I've only put probably 300 rounds through, maybe. Not much. But again, this one's been running flawless. It's just a great, reliable, ergonomic gun that just shouldn't be overlooked. Now, if we continue on, the other thing I really like about this gun, is a lot of people don't know this gun was designed almost solely for the United States military contract. Now, I'm not saying that's what it was built for, but it was the primary inspiration for the design. They designed this gun with the intention that it was going to be adopted by the US military when they were doing the XM-17 program. And because of that, the gun is built from the ground up as a high round count gun. One of the things I think is phenomenal compared to a lot of other guns out there is this double captured recoil spring. Now, the reason I like this so much is because it's set up that it's meant to fire 4 times the amount that a standard recoil spring would. So most, as a point of reference, most, and again I say most, recoil springs are built for 5,000 to 7,000 rounds before you need to change it. Whereas these guys are built for almost 20,000 before you have to actually start changing the recoil spring, which is the way they're designed, is it's meant as a high round count setup. So they're built to last 4 times longer than the average recoil spring. So logistically speaking, this is parts that you don't have to buy now. a great setup with these is the fact that a gun like this, your average amateur shooter would never shoot to the point that they have to start replacing parts. You could just shoot the gun until you die of old age, which is great thinking in my opinion. Get this back together. Now, disassembly of the gun, it's fairly straightforward, as you saw me do it, but I'm going to do it again. So disassembly, some people have reservations about having to pull the trigger to disassemble. If you don't like doing that, again, Beretta gives you the option. You can simply just cock the slide back a bit, hit the striker decocker, and then tear the gun apart. You don't actually have to pull the trigger. Now, for someone like myself, you simply just rack it, make sure it's clear, pull the trigger, take that button, push it in, push it in, rotate it down, the gun comes apart, just like any other standard design. And the nice thing with the APX is when you put them back together, is the assembly latch will reassemble itself automatically, so you don't have to, that's just one less thing you have to forget about. Now, if we take something, again, I'm not trying to knock on the P320, but, so something like the P320, when I take it apart, when I put this gun back together, I have to lock it back, rotate it, and then it's good to go. Not bad at all. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just, it's the little things you notice. So Beretta simply just took one of the steps away for having to reassemble the pistol. And to be honest, I like it. Now, another really nice thing about the APX is, or some people say it's nice, some people say it's not. Personally, I think the design was well thought out. And that is the chassis system. So if I should have just left the pistol apart. If I take this bad boy apart, so like the SIG P320, the Beretta APX has a removable chassis system. So this entire module here can come out, and that's your firearm. And then the grip frame, or the grip module, if you want to buy a different color or buy one without the finger grooves, whatever the case may be, you can do that. You can have multiple of these. Whereas like certain other guns, a good example is the Glock. I can't do that. Like this part right here is the firearm. Whereas something like the APX and the 320, this is the firearm. This is just a piece of plastic. So where it kind of gets a little controversial, but I think is actually a good idea, is the removal of the chassis. So most people will look at something like the P320, and when I take I'm not going to do it on video. There's lots of videos out there how to do this, but when I take the chassis out, all I have to do is remove the takedown lever, take it out, and the whole system lifts out. Now, it's a great design, it's a simple design, but personally, I have a slight issue with that. And that issue for me is what I like to call a lack of security. So what I mean by a lack of security is there's only one point, which is right here, securing the firearm to the chassis. Now, I've never heard of it happening, but if for whatever reason that piece ever broke, this whole piece, I could go like that and lift it right out and take it out of the gun. The APX, it's a little more secure inside the frame. So what I mean by that, by a little more secure, and again, this is personal preference, is you've got the piece up front here holding the front of the module in place. You've got the pin here holding the back of the module in place. And then you've got the striker deactivator as a third point of contact holding the frame in place, which in my opinion makes it a lot more stable. It's got no play inside the frame, whereas the P320 has a little bit of wobble to it, where I can actually wobble the entire module inside the frame. This can't do that because it's got so many points of contact holding it in place. So I like that because it's more secure inside the firearm. Now, the argument that it's difficult to take apart, it's difficult to disassemble, I respectfully disagree with. I've got a video of how to change the module to the new color and everything. I think with me rambling on, it was like 12 minutes. Realistically, you can do it in about 5. Like, all you got to do is do the same thing with the P320, rotate this, take it out. That little spring, you just lift that up just slightly, punch this out. You don't even need a hammer and punch. If you do it right, you just gotta push it right out. You push the deactivator and the whole thing comes right out. It's actually very easy. It's not that difficult. Is it more than the P320? Yes, it is. But overall, it's really not that bad. Now, one of the other things that I actually really like about this gun, actually I love about this gun, is it's very soft shooting for a polymer frame 9mm. The nice thing with it is the way the grip's designed is you can get a very high grip on the gun. You can get very high up on that beaver tail. And the gun tied in with the dual captured recoil spring is it just doesn't kick that bad. Double taps with this gun are a dream. You can shoot very quickly and very accurately with this gun. And it's, honestly, it's actually just very pleasant to shoot. Now the P320, I absolutely love the P320. People who know me know I really like it. But the P320 has a lot more felt recoil than, say, the Beretta APX or a Glock or a Smith & Wesson M&P. The reason I think the APX is the best of the bunch is because it's giving you a very high backstrap to hang on to and grip the gun high, which is what you want. But you got a dual captured recoil spring assembly with it as well. So it's very gentle to shoot. And personally, I think it's just awesome. Awesome to shoot. One of the other big features that I really like, it's kind of hit or miss, is Beretta listening to the customer. So originally when these first came out, people wanted an all FDE gun. So Beretta USA talked to Beretta Italy. They're like, yeah, no problem. We'll Cerakote the slides. So you've got all FDE guns. And now, unfortunately, I don't have one yet. I'm trying to get one. People were concerned about the safety plunger. So when I fire, it moves that out of the way. So the gun is drop safe. It can't fire without the trigger being pulled. People were concerned that there's like, well, if I want to mount a red dot, I can't do that because of that. Well, Beretta has RDO guns ready to go. So all they simply did was just change this design slightly. And now you've got an optics ready gun, which I intend to own shortly. So Beretta is very good at listening to the customer. The customer wanted FDE guns, they wanted optics ready guns, and they wanted different modules, all of which are available now. And again, like I said, the other aftermarket support, sights, trigger upgrades, like springs and everything like that. The guns are already ready to go. Now, another feature that I really like, a lot of people actually don't, is the slide serrations. Now, love them or hate them. Visually, I mean, personally, I love the look of this gun, but some people just don't really like the look of it. But if you look at it in terms of functionality, these are sharp, aggressive slide serrations, and you can grab the gun anywhere you want, and you can get a purchase on the gun, or on the slide, sorry. So it's one of those, while it may not look the prettiest, it's very functional, especially if you have an optics up here. You can't overhand the gun, but you can do it from up front. Whereas other guns like Glocks and the Beretta 92 series there, you don't have these. Now, mind you, this is an older Glock. This is a Gen 3, but I digress. So I think that's actually a really nice feature on the APX. Now, another beautiful thing about it is the aftermarket support. So while guns like the P320 have enjoyed a lot more success than the APX, I'm fairly certain companies like Wilson Combat and them are going to be coming out with their own design grip modules and things like that, like you see with the 320. I can almost guarantee you there's going to be excellent aftermarket options for grip modules for this gun in the coming years. The other one too is, even here in Canada, the aftermarket support in terms of parts, accessories are all available through the warranty center, Stoger Canada. So you can get all different stuff if you want it. And there's already, at least to my knowledge, there's 3 custom Kydex manufacturers who build holsters for these guns. So if you want like a quick, just like a level 1 holster, you want a level 2 with a hood, you want a level 3, you want a competition style, you want one with an optics cut like this one is, it's already ready to go for you. There's already aftermarket support there. So it's a sign that the APX itself, while it may not seem like it's doing that well, is actually doing quite well. And again, the gun is fully supported by Beretta. They've got the full size, they've got Centurion models, they've got compact models, they've got subcompact models. The APX is ready to rock and roll, which is why I think it's actually a lot better than most people are letting on. If you compare this to, let's say, a Glock 17 Gen 5, realistically, this is offering you a lot more than the Gen 5 is. You've got a more ergonomic grip, you've got better modularity, you've got, in my opinion, it's just as reliable. It's just overall, when you compare it to, the modern iterations of the Glock, in general, if you look at the features this offers, it's a better gun. Now, people will respectfully disagree with that, but it's kind of gotten to the point that companies like Glock are hiding behind their name. I mean, oh, great, it's a Glock. I mean, yes, they're absolutely reliable, but a reliable gun at a range setting is kind of non-existent, because any gun that is remotely well taken care of is a very reliable gun. The argument of sole reliability just isn't as valid as it used to be when you look at modern alternatives. I mean, hell, Glock lost the military contract to SIG. What's that tell you? Other than the fact that SIG underbid them by $100 million. Now, here's the really big one, is will the Beretta APX take on what I call the legacy gun? And the legacy gun, of course, is the 92 platform. So, look at all the cat hair. Will the APX dethrone the Beretta 92? Absolutely not. I guarantee you it won't. Again, Beretta, listening to its customers, released the X series of guns. So the 92X Performance, the 92X Full Size, Langdon Tactical has got the Elite LTT. The APX, while as phenomenal as a gun as it is, it's not going to dethrone guns like the Beretta 92 platform, especially the more modern iterations of it. But a gun like this is a gun that I would take over a P320, a Glock, an M&P any day of the week. And you know what? You should strongly consider it too. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see y'all next time.